Okay, so before we start working with preterite versus imperfect, and what I mean by preterite versus imperfect is since preterite and imperfect are both past tenses, you have to decide when to use each one. It's kind of like ser and a star. They both mean the same thing, but there are certain times when you use ser, and there are certain times when you use a star. Well, that's the same thing with preterite and imperfect. That except for it's with every single verb. So every single verb in the past tense can be conjugated in either the preterite or the imperfect. And there are certain times when you use it in the preterite, and there are certain times when you use it in the imperfect. But before we can do that, we have to review the conjugations, because if you can't conjugate them in the preterite or the imperfect, well, then you can't choose between the two of them. So we'll start with reviewing the preterite. This will be posted on your notes as a PowerPoint. So there are 5 categories of preterite. There's regular verbs, Y verbs, and completely irregular verbs, UJI. Oh, that's a typo. Y verbs, UJI, and completely irregular verbs. Okay? So here are the regular endings. Aste, o. Amos, astais, aran. ER and IR verbs, iste, io. Imos, istais, ieran. You learn them in Spanish too. We spent a long time learning them. Okay. Then we talk about stem changers here. There are no AR stem changing verbs in the preterite. You can find the list of stem changing verbs on your vocab list, so you have it on your vocab list. They stem change only in the bottom form. We call them sandal verbs. Your choices are E to I or O to U, which is outlined in this corner when you look at the slide. So when you stem change, it only goes there. So let's do mentir. It go menti, mentiste, mentio, M-I-N-T-I-O. Mentimos, mentistais, mentieron, M-I-N-T-I-E-R-O-N. Here's your Y verbs. They're super irregular. Basically, there's a Y down here. Leí, leíste, leyó, leímos, leístais, leyeron. You have creer and oír and huir and construir and contribuir. There's a whole bunch of them. All of them have a Y down there. Your UJI verbs are the ones from the song that we sang, fui, di, vi. They're also a list on your vocab. They are also on your vocab list. Here's the endings that go with them. With J verbs, it's eran. Here they are. So it'd be puse, pusiste, puso, pusimos, pusistais, pusieran. Produje, produjiste, produjo. Produjimos, produjistais, produjeran. Vine, viniste, vino. Vinimos, vinistais, vinieran. Here's some completely irregulars, ir and ser. They both mean the same. Fui, fuiste, fue. Fuimos, fuistais, fueran. Dar, di, diste, dio. Dimos, distais, dieran. Ver, vi, viste, vio. Vimos, vistais, vieran. Okay, that's it for the preterite tense. Now the imperfect tense. The imperfect tense is so much easier than the preterite. The preterite is the hardest tense. There's lots of irregulars, but the imperfect tense is super easy. So the imperfect tense, if you remember, the AR verbs end in aba, abas, aba, abamos, abais, and aban. ER and IR verbs, ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. So like, let's see, hablar. Hablaba, hablabas, hablaba, hablábamos, hablabais, hablaban. And correr. Corría, corrías, corría, corríamos, corríais, corrían. And here's your 3 irregulars. Ir, ser, and ver. Iba, ibas, iba. Íbamos, ibais, iban. Era, eras, era. Éramos, erais, eran. Ver. Veía, veías, veía. Veíamos, veíais, veían. So that's all for the conjugation. Obviously, just looking at this isn't enough. So if you know that you're Spanish 2 preterite conjugation expert, then don't do as many of the optional practices. If you are not a Spanish 2 preterite conjugation expert, you should do lots of practices, because you'll need it for Spanish 4 right away. We'll start with the same chapter right away in Spanish 4.